Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. And in this video, we're going to talk about one of the big sci-fi franchises that there is. Growing up, there were two bigs. There was Star Wars and there was Star Trek. And they both have their ravenous fan bases back then and today. Now, what we're going to be looking at in this video is a portion of one of those franchises, the Star Trek franchise. Particularly, we're going to look at Star Trek The Next Generation, the role-playing game. This book has 303 pages and a copyright of 1998. It was published by Last Unicorn Games, and all of the artwork in this book is in color and consists of mostly just pictures from the TV show and movies and some hand-drawn art for the adventure that's inside this book and some of the aliens and creatures that didn't get a lot of airtime on the various programs. So let's go ahead and take a look at that artwork. Almost all of the pictures in this book are stills from the TV show, but they are all in full color and look pretty good. All in all, there is a proper selection to give a good feel and mood to this game. There is some hand-drawn artwork in this book as well. It is mostly featured, however, for the adventure in this book, but also giving representation to creatures that were hardly seen or only mentioned in the TV show. To play this game, what you're going to need is, of course, a copy of this core rulebook and 6-sided dice. That's it. It's a D6 type of system with its own little variant. But character creation in this game is as simple as you want it to be or as complex as you want it to be. So let's go ahead and discuss that. First, we'll look at the attributes. The attributes used in this game, there are 4 core attributes, each broken up into 2 smaller portions called edges. And they are fitness, which is broken up into strength and vitality. There is coordination, which is broken up into dexterity and reaction. There is intellect, which is broken up into logic and perception. And there is presence, which is broken up into willpower and empathy. There is a 5th attribute called psi, which is broken up into range and focus, but it only is important if you're going to have psi powers, like Vulcans or Betazoids. Betazoids don't really have psi powers, but they are empathic, and that's considered psi power. But usually it's a 0 unless you have powers. And we'll get into that. The attributes, the numbers for them go up to 5. And you don't really pick them at character creation. They are pretty much decided for you after you pick your template. Your template is the species or race that you pick. And the choices they give you is the Andorian, the Betazoid, the Balian, the Centaurian, the Human, the Vulcan, and the Tellarite. And this will give you a base for your character, some skills, abilities, and what your starting attributes will be. Then you get to pick an overlay. An overlay is pretty much what your character does aboard the ship. Now, you can skip that portion if you want to play a non-Federation character, someone that's not in Starfleet, and they give you rules for that in here, but I'm not going to go over that because there's a lot to it. But anyway, the overlays that you have to pick from are Command, Operation Officer, Engineer, Security, Science, Ship's Counselor, and Medic. And these will give you even more skills for your character, some more abilities and advantages and so forth. And after that, you figure up your background. And your background's broken up into different portions. There is your early life history,
and then there is your academy life history, and then your tour of duty history. And all of these will give you more skills and abilities and advantages and so forth to add to your character. Now, in the backgrounds, each portion of it gives you a certain number of gives you a number of packages that you can pick from and then add to your character. If you don't want to go through that, then they also provide you with some points that you can take instead to buy the different portions for your character. It just depends on how easy you want character creation to be or how complicated. After that, you get 5 courage points for your character, 1 renown point. The rank you start at is ensign, and then you figure up your wounds levels. And by that, you first figure up your resistance. And that is, you add your fitness with your vitality. And that'll give you your resistance and tells you how many points of damage you can take at each wound level. And that's pretty much it for character creation. It can be as simple as you want or as complicated as you want. It just depends on how you want to do it and how fast you want to make up your character. Now, the system in this game is very easy. It uses 6-sided dice. When you go to perform a test, such as attacking somebody or programming a computer or what have you, then you roll a number of 6-sided dice equal to the attribute that that skill is tied to. And of course, you get to add the edges to it if you have anything in the edges. But that figures up your dice pool, and you roll the dice and you select the highest rolled die, and you add that to whatever your skill total is. So if you have 4 in your computer programming and you're trying to roll a computer and you roll 3 dice and one of them's a 5, then you add the 4 to the 5 and that gives you 9. That's your number. And you compare it to the difficulty that the Game Master selects for the task at hand. Now, like the D6 system that uses the special dice, this has a special dice system too, but their system is called the drama die. And in it, of course, one of your dice that you roll will be a different color, and it only means something if it rolls a 6 or a 1. If you roll a 6, then you get to add that as your highest die, plus whatever die is also the highest. You add them together with your skill, giving you a better chance at success. If you roll a 1, then bad things will happen. And there's a list and table for you to figure out exactly what goes down. This book has everything you need to play. It's got stuff on the different species that you'll run into throughout the Star Trek universe that aren't presented for character play, such as Ferengi and Klingons and Romulans. It's got a bunch of ships for you to pick from, to put your people on, including a mix of Federation ships and other ships, such as some Ferengi ships, Klingon ships, and Romulan ships, Orion ships, and other stuff. It has a section here on non-sentient creatures, animals that you'll run into. It's got information here on Starfleet and how life works aboard the ship and what your role will be depending on what your overlay is. It's got a starting adventure in here that you can run, and there's a blank character sheet in the back for you to photocopy and use. It's got rules in here for ship-to-ship combat and how you can play with the shields like they do on the TV shows. And basically, if you've seen Star Trek The Next Generation, this has pretty much got it all covered. And I kind of like it. It's a really good game. When they brought this out, Last Unicorn Games, they made a core book for each of the series that were out at the time. So there was a core book for the original series, a core book for The Next Generation, which is what I got here, a core book for Deep Space Nine, and just before they came out with a core book for Star Trek Voyager, they lost the license, so that book never came out, which is regrettable. I liked Voyager. But Star Trek Next Generation was a really iconic show, and the game was really cool. What spawned me into wanting to talk about this right now is my wife has started binge watching Star Trek Next Generation this week, and so I figured I'd dig out my copy and talk about it. Which brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character in this game? And yes, I would. I liked Star Trek The Next Generation, and it's kind of a neat thing to be able to go off on those kind of adventures. Would I run this game? Yes, I would, and yes, I have. I will have to tell the story about how that turned out. It was really weird, but it was a whole lot of fun. But we wound up moving on to another game before we finished. But yes, I would run it again if I had the chance. Would I recommend this game? And if you're a fan of Star Trek, particularly The Next Generation, then this would definitely be a game for you to check out. The rules are easy, and there's lots of stuff you can do. And so, yes, I would recommend it if you're a Star Trek fan. So, thank you for joining me at a look at this book, and hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.